Hello and welcome to The Shift, a series of video interactions powered by ET Edge Insights. I am Ashwani Mishra, Editor Technology. The conversations on The Shift will feature business leaders who deep dive into the nitty-gritty of their respective fields. The Shift will uncover the genuine challenges and the opportunities for these leaders and will unveil the strategies they are embracing to move forward. In today's conversation, we will discuss the shift that is taking place in the digital infrastructure space. For this, I have been joined by Manoj Paul, Managing Director, Equinix India, a global data center and co-location provider and for enterprise network and cloud computing. Welcome, Manoj, to this conversation. It's a pleasure to have you here.
My pleasure too.
Right, Manoj, we are seeing a lot of momentum in the enterprise space, specifically when we talk about digital transformation. Now, what are the opportunities that you are as a player, looking at the market and from the enterprise space here?
Yeah, this is very exciting time, I would say. Worldwide and more so in India, the digital infrastructure industry is really going through a very exciting time.
Right.
And while on one front, the enterprises are investing heavily to accelerate their digital journey so that their front end and the back end is all digitized and they get the benefit of the efficiency that comes in because of digital services. But what is most exciting is the consumers are really absorbing and adopting more of these digital services, whether it's digital transactions, financial transactions, or content on digital platforms, or work from home, or study on digital platforms and all that. That is really creating great opportunities, and that momentum, especially in India, with that 1.3 billion population spread across such a big landscape,
right,
with not necessarily access to everything right next door because you might be in a different city or a remote town and all that. Digital infrastructure really levels up everything.
Right.
So whether you are in Mumbai or whether you are in a remote location in Bihar, as long as you have internet connection, you can have access to as much information, and that can enable you to do everything that maybe a person in Mumbai can do it. So it has huge opportunities, and we are seeing huge consumption of all these content and new services that are happening. And also there is a huge headroom to grow because India still has only 70-75% of internet connection available to users, and only 60% of the handphones are smartphones.
Right.
So as they convert into digital smartphones, they will consume services, the demand will continue to grow. So all these demand translates into demand for data center services as well as interconnection, because
Absolutely.
both are required. You need data center space for processing all this content and the requests that are being made, but at the same time all this content has to flow.
True.
And has to be served to all these customers. Take for instance IPL match is happening. I mean, with 35 million customers joining in concurrently,
Absolutely.
it puts in a huge demand on the infrastructure that is needed to support that sort of a requirement. So it's exciting, challenging, and that's where we need to be innovative. We need to ensure that we look at all aspects of digital infrastructure and to be efficient.
Absolutely. So really exciting times to be there in this space, Manoj. You launched the digital interconnection services last year. Now, what was the primary need to have these services in place, and also what kind of uptake or how have you seen enterprises embrace this?
Well, as we see digital transformation happening both at the enterprise side and consumers adopting digital services, and the demand for digital infrastructure growing up, there are challenges.
Right.
And it's not a simple case of, hey, you build more and more servers, take more and more bandwidth, and the customer will be satisfied. No, it's not like that.
Right.
Today, the requirement goes up at certain occasion and then it comes down.
Right.
And you can't build your capacities for the peak requirement, because then what happens when the peak requirement dies down? If you build up capacities only for IPL, what happens the remaining part of the year? So these are the challenges that enterprises have been following and have been going through. And we realized that over time, more and more customers want a lot more flexibility. They want to use services as a service model, everything, infrastructure also, and all other services on the tap,
Right.
so that they can pay as when they use and need to use it. and they also want to optimize their solutions and the architecture. So initially there was a time when everybody thought that cloud is the panacea for all the IT requirement.
True.
Hey,
Yes.
put everything on the cloud and you are done. So now realization is that that's not the end of it, because some applications are good on cloud, some applications are not necessarily suited for cloud, and hence it has to be on your on-prem also.
Right.
But another thing that often gets missed is that it's not about your systems, the servers and the networking gears, and it's not only about the application, but also about how you interact, how you interconnect with your customers, your service providers, how efficient is that both in cost wise and also in terms of latency and other parameters.
Right.
That is what we are trying to bring a difference in the Indian market by saying that a data center service provider can, if they have a plethora of basket of services,
Right.
of providing interconnection services, which includes very easy connectivity to all these parameters, all these service providers and all that, then it becomes much more efficient for the enterprise users. Say for instance, if a bank is present in a data center where they want to say that they want to connect to a cloud service providers, and if that cloud service provider's cloud on ramp is present in that data center,
Right.
then they connect to that data center, to the cloud on a cross connect.
Right.
And what happens is today, if the requirement is just only 100 meg, but suddenly the requirement goes up to 1 gig because of some reason or the,
Right.
all they have to do is they come to our Equinix portal and then upgrade the bandwidth to the cloud service providers from 100 meg to 1 gig or even 10 gig or even 100 gig.
And
That's
all,
the flexibility.
That's all automatic.
Automatic, and
Wow.
he gets billed for that 100 gig or 10 gig only for the duration that he's using it.
Right.
So we had a case wherein a customer's primary database storage conked off. So they lost all their data,
Right.
but they had it on their DR on the cloud. Now, if that customer would have been in some other data center connected to a cloud, say on 100 meg, it might have taken 30 days for them to download the whole thing.
Absolutely.
And if they go to a telecom service provider, increase my bandwidth from 100 meg to 1 gig, it will take them 4 or 6 weeks, and the service provider would say, hey, I need it for at least 1 year, a contract for giving 1 gig.
Right.
In our case, since you are co-located and the cloud on ramp is located inside our data center, go to the Equinix portal, upgrade your bandwidth and bring it down. That's what they did. And within 10 days, they could copy the complete petabytes of data into the primary server, primary storage, and then they went live with their primary storage, though the whole storage has got conked off. So these are the benefits that we are bringing to the to India and making customers, enterprises conscious that if you want your cloud strategy to be successful, look at the networking piece also, look at the flexibility piece also, look at a strategy wherein it's more hybrid rather than everything on the cloud,
Or
and
everything
more-
on-prem.
Yeah, or everything on-prem, or have the flexibility that you can connect to multiple clouds instead of one single cloud.
Right.
So here we provide Equinix Fabric service, wherein on a single port, you can today connect to one, say, AWS.
Right.
But suddenly you want to connect to Azure or you want to connect to Oracle. All you have to do is go to our portal and create a new virtual circuit,
Right.
and you get connected to that service provider also. So on the same port, without having to configure a port or give an order
Right.
for a physical
Right.
port and all
Right.
that, you can have from 1 to 2, 2 to 3. And now we also have launched something called a fabric router. What it does is that it enables you to transfer data very easily between, say, AWS to Google, Google to Oracle and all that. Otherwise,
Right.
which is a big challenge to share data between one to the other. So with all these interconnection products available at Equinix data centers, the customer gets that flexibility. It gets
Absolutely.
that insurance that in future, whenever they have that requirement, they know it's available on the fly. And
Absolutely.
hence, they feel confident about how they can tackle any new changes in their requirement in future.
Absolutely. So the example that you cited, Manoj, you're providing them agility, flexibility, and ensuring that the business is resilient at all times. Now, with the kind of services that you have. Now, artificial intelligence, has been the talk of the times, and more so generative AI. Right from classrooms to boardrooms, everybody's talking about generative AI. What does it mean for your business?
Well, it's a great opportunity for us. And we are all, the whole data center community is gearing up to support growth of AI, both consumption and also the AI infrastructure that is going to be required to be deployed to meet the opportunity that lies ahead of us to leverage the benefits of AI. AI poses big challenges
Right.
because it has high power requirement. One cabinet might go up to 30 or 40 or even 100 kilowatt. Now people are talking of liquid cooling, and some or many of the data centers are not necessarily really designed to be able to meet that sort of requirement.
Right.
So we in Equinix are doing some pilot projects with our customers and with some of our vendors so that we can find out ways of how we can optimize this liquid cooling models, the architecture, so that we really get the full benefit. Not only we as a service provider, but also our customers and the equipment providers also know what are the challenges and how they need to provide that equipment so that it can meet the complete common requirement. AI also has a requirement for easy connectivity from where the data is coming.
Right.
So interconnection would again come in the forefront.
Right.
Since you know that AI has two components, one is the learning piece and one is the inference. Learning can be anywhere and you just collect the data and then you churn it out and build your knowledge. But inference is where you are putting a query and then inference is what gives you back the answer, and that has to be instantaneous. So the edge data center like the ones that we have become very critical for this AI inferences, and any service provider wants to deploy their AI inference worldwide, then Equinix becomes a big choice because it has becomes a very prominent choice because we have 250 data centers across the world in 32 countries in 72 metros. So we have all those edge data centers which are located at the right place where customers who are building their own private AI can deploy their AI inferences at the right locations. And we, being fully ready, we are in the process of readying ourselves to be able to support all their requirement. And one thing I would like to stress is that while AI is happening more on the public cloud place and generic AI is getting deployed, but what we have realized in some of our discussions with our enterprise customers is that many customers are also looking at doing their own private AI.
Right.
So when private AI becomes prominent, these are deployments which are not very huge, but they are critical for the customer.
Right.
And they are not going to do learning of all the data that is available in the world. They are going to do a learning of the data that they have. Say for one product they are launching, if it's suppose a service provider who provides ticketing services, they have that data and they would like to learn that data and then provide faster services to their users. So that deployment may not be big. So how do they deploy their private AI so that they have the custody of their data and they don't have the fear that okay, that data is getting compromised, and at the same time they have control of the applications and everything else? We can provide all that support to them, that we provide data centers in all locations where they want to be. And the second is that we are building our own expertise and our own collaboration with NVIDIA to bring in solutions to our customers, wherein we will deploy the AI chips and the servers. NVIDIA is going to put all the networking and everything, and then we can provide it as a complete solution for data center, space, power, cooling, the AI chipsets and everything as a service to our customers, so that they don't have to worry about the hardware and all that piece. They just need to focus upon what data they have and how do they get the maximum benefit out of it. So that's where our relationship with some of the partners are going to be very, very crucial and appropriate for our end customer.
Very interesting. So some of the points that you mentioned here, Manoj, one is ensuring that AI and use of generative AI within the company is there, using it for and helping your customers move up the rack in terms of their usage of AI. And third is collaborating with the ecosystem partners here, to develop more products and solutions for the
AI is
customers.
at the initial phase, and a lot of collaboration has to happen.
Absolutely.
So that the end customer gets the maximum benefit out of it. But this means a lot of investment, and the optimum outcome will only happen if we use everything efficiently.
Absolutely,
bring down the cost, being it easier to operate, and ensure that they can deploy faster and with more flexibility. That is what we plan to do. That hey, deploy it. You don't have to worry about 120 things. Just come to us and we'll bring in all the collaboration and the partnerships and give you a solution.
Right. One final question that I had, Manoj, was in terms of sustainability. Sustainability has again emerged as one of the key talking points for businesses, and they have been walking that talk as well. How are you looking at sustainability within your operations?
Oh, absolutely. That's so critical for, in fact, all organizations, but more so for service providers like us who consume a lot of power, and there is a lot of media and general public awareness about the huge amount of power that gets consumed in data centers. We look at it multiple ways. One is that first, we should be carbon neutral to the extent possible. So we were the first one to announce that we will be 100% carbon neutral. In 2015, we announced that, and we are working towards that. Today, 96% of all our power are backed by green energy,
Right.
And we will soon be reaching about 100% also. We are doing multiple power purchase agreements with renewable power service providers, making investments in some of those platforms which are generating renewable powers. We are investing in green bonds so that they provide support to those service providers who are deploying infrastructure for generating green power. But what is also important is to modify or further enhance the technology that gets deployed and bring in measures so that you can reduce the power consumption itself.
Right.
So Equinix has been working on that front for quite some time, and we have been taking internal targets for reducing power consumption, improving our PUE over a period of time, and we have been able to achieve more than 10% plus improvement in power consumption for the same IT power year over year. That is not only for the new data centers, but even for existing data centers. We are investing huge amount of money to see how we can reduce the power consumption. Like in the 2 data centers that Equinix acquired in India from GPX, we have been able to improve the PUE by big 20+% over the last 3 years by putting in some investment in putting in some cold aisle containment and some process improvements and all that. So I mean, it has to become an initiative for each and every team within the organization to see how we can reduce the consumption, and at the same time a separate team is anyway working on how to ensure that whatever we consume is green energy.
Right, absolutely right. Manoj, thank you so much for your insights, and it was a pleasure having this conversation with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Right, that was Manoj Paul, Managing Director, Equinix India, speaking with us. Stay tuned for more such videos on The Shift. Thank you.